What's cracking, family? Sourdough Squad, hop in here. Get in here. We got some news to talk about. Some bittersweet. Some bitter, some sweet. But we'll get into it. Obviously, there's been some moves that have been made today surrounding the 49ers. Some personnel moves. Like I said, bitter and sweet moves. Appreciate all you guys joining, hopping in. Let's go. We see you guys. What's up, young hitter? My boy, you have a blessed day as well. And hopefully we'll have a blessed live with minimal Wi-Fi issues today. But let's hop into it. First thing that I want to talk about is I want to talk about Raheem Mostert. Obviously, today's news came a it was a bit of a surprise because obviously we had just found out yesterday that it was looking like that the timetable for Raheem Mostert was going to be about a 2-month timetable to repair some chipped cartilage in his knee. So there was still hope, that Raheem could come back, especially down towards the meat of our season, when depth and the attrition becomes a real thing amongst the football team. So there was hope. Unfortunately, now Raheem Mostert put out a message today essentially telling us that he will be having season-ending surgery to repair the cartilage in his knee. It's really tough to hear, but there's multiple reasons why it's really tough to hear. One, obviously, with Raheem Mostert, the first 2 carries of the game against the Detroit Lions, you could see Raheem Mostert look ready. The holes were opening up. It looked like it was really going to be a big game for Raheem Mostert in that regard. And unfortunately, after 2 reps, he goes 2 runs, 20 yards. He's out. He messed up the knee again. Again, we talked about the knee a little bit. He wore this bulky brace all throughout training camp. Things like that. So I don't know if it has anything to do with that, but unfortunately, Raheem Mostert is now heading to IR, and we won't be seeing him this year. I think if you look at a larger, broader picture, I think another reason why it's a kind of a sad day a bit is because I don't know if Raheem Mostert will be back with the 49ers. We may have seen Raheem Mostert take his last snap with the 49ers, and I think that's probably the hardest thing about this injury, is that he just got the captain's patch. He won the job as a starter, beating out Trey Sermon, and we've seen how good Elijah Mitchell is, JaMychal Hasty, Wayne Gallman. He got the captain's patch. Like I said, he was primed for a big year, solid offensive line. We were going to run the football. Raheem was primed for a really big year. So, like I said, unfortunately, the biggest downer of it all is that he probably won't be back. Again, he is a free agent this year. The 49ers, his agent, have famously had contractual issues in the past. Clearly, Raheem didn't get extended this year. Rather, they drafted 2 running backs. So the writing's on the wall, unfortunately, for Raheem Mostert. Just a personal thing about Raheem. He's one of my favorite players on this team. Again, just as a person. The way that he's interacted with me, my page, my brand, the way he communicates with me, he's really been an awesome player and an awesome person to have on your side. And so that's why I'm really there for Raheem when I can be. And he deserves nothing but good prayers, good thoughts, and all that good energy coming his way, because Raheem Mostert is a professional. He is a pro's pro. And it's out like this. He's absolutely a fantastic guy. But as you guys know, we made a corresponding move as a result. So clearly the information was timed. It appears Raheem Mostert wanted to be the one to control the message, control the information, and was able to post it out. And then right after that, corresponding move, it is announced that the 49ers have signed Kerryon Johnson. So let's tie a bow on Raheem Mostert real quick before we dive super deep into Kerryon. But the biggest things with Raheem Mostert, man, is he's going to go down. He's going to go down as the running back with the highest yards per carry average in NFL history, beating out Bo Jackson, beating out any famous running back that you can imagine. That dude is the epitome of chunk yardage and big plays for what he's been able to contribute to the 49ers and all that stuff. So with Raheem Mostert, man, it hurts. It's tough. Like I said, I felt like he was headed for a clear over 1,000 yard rushing, which would have been perfect way to kind of cap off his time here with the 49ers as he heads into free agency. But like I said, being a free agent with the contractual issues that he's had with this team in the past, not getting re-upped and then drafting 2 running backs, we knew this was his last year. So that, I think, is the hardest thing about it. Looking through some of Raheem's career stats really quickly, he has a total of 1,600 rushing yards. Again, he ran at 5.7 a clip, which is more than Bo Jackson, more than any legendary running back that you can think of. His average per rush is legendary. And it will be legendary for quite some time. So it was really tough. And again, he was building that momentum up. We'll never forget the 2019 year when he had 137 carries for 72 yards and 8 touchdowns. Added 2 through the air, receiving touchdowns with 180 yards and 14 receptions. So, man, it sucks. It sucks. But as we, kind of transition away from Raheem Mostert to how the 49ers are going to move on from this, how they're going to move past this, just, of course, it's a heartbreaker. It's a heartbreaker. I know it's a heartbreaker for players inside that locker room. It's another thing to think about. I know fans tend to compartmentalize injuries through the context of fantasy football and what that means to their team and that kind of stuff. But if we strip all that away and we strip our fandom away and we look at these guys as people and we go inside that locker room, those boys are hurting today. I would say that group as a whole, losing Jason Verrett, who's been a leader on defense, on top of losing a captain in Raheem Mostert and his story and what he's been through, I guarantee you those boys in that locker room are hurting a little bit today. Their hearts are a little heavy today. They lost 2 of their brothers that they were expecting to go to war with all year. It's tough, right? It's tough. So those are the kinds of things that we'll be keying on. Again, we've talked a ton about the game against the Lions, the energy, the mentality, the way they handled adversity. Those are the key points of emphasis from those games. So now let's see how they take these issues and these situations and carry that over to Philadelphia. And we'll get into Philly in a little bit. But as a result, right, of this news, the 49ers have signed Kerryon Johnson. I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with Kerryon Johnson. I'm extremely familiar with Kerryon Johnson. And of course, as you guys know, I'm a big dynasty fantasy football player. And Kerryon Johnson was one of my sons. If you know me, you know when I scout, I call all my draft crushes sons. Like, I'm the Papa Bear, and I'm scouting all these players of who I want to come on to the 49ers or who I want to come on to my fantasy or dynasty teams. And so I developed these not a relationship, but like I like these players before they have been drafted or selected to a team. I develop I guess like a bond. Which is why I call them my sons. And Kerryon Johnson was a firstborn. So there's levels to the sons. And Kerryon Johnson was a firstborn son. Firstborn sons obviously tell you like they are the son of sons, right? they're the cream of the crop of all my draft crushes. Obviously, Kerryon Johnson has not had the career that I had expected he would have. I don't think he expected the career that he's had so far. like the player. I like the person. I think he fits into this locker room really, really well. On top of the skill set, too. On top of the skill set, obviously being hurt uh, multiple times uh, is a bit of a concern. But again, um, he was free. He was literally free off the streets, signed to our practice squad, literally zero risk. It's all reward. So if the 49ers can nurse this guy back to health, get him going in the right direction, uh, sky's the limit, honestly, because I don't know if he will ever, reach that same level of speed that he once had. I mean, hopefully he does once he gets healthy. I know he's been battling some and things like that. But once he gets going, man, he's really good. And if you give him an opportunity to run behind an offensive line in the type of scheme that we operate, again, he didn't fit what the Lions did. And it wasn't a good fit from the jump. I absolutely hated that the Lions drafted Kerryon Johnson. I knew that this was likely the path for Kerryon when he was selected. Um, it was really tough. It was really tough. There was a brand new regime. It was their first draft. Um, they probably overdrafted Kerryon a little bit, and again, the injuries hit early for Kerryon in his career, which doesn't allow him to get going and get moving. Um, but like for example, at his 3-year career in Auburn, out of 519 attempts, he put over 2,494 yards, which was 4.8 yards a carry. He put up 32 touchdowns. Let me say that again. He put up 32 touchdowns at Auburn playing in the SEC as a 20-year-old. Again, he's only right 24 years old right now. I think that's another one of the benefits of having Kerryon Johnson on this team is he's young. He's still a young boy. So he still has an opportunity to bounce back and actually be productive in this league. Again, there are players who get drafted at the age of 24. So the time is not run out on Kerryon yet. And I love the scheme that he fits into. Like I said, though, he's more of a one cut between the tackle guy, in my opinion. Even though we run a lot of outside zone and we try to hit speed with the outside zone and things like that, which he is capable of. He's fast enough to be able to hit the edge, but I do like him more in the inside zone, almost more power run game, if and when we need to implement that. So for Kerryon Johnson, if he ever gets the opportunity to get called up to the active roster, get carries, I really see him being a fantastic goal line back. I see him being a short yardage back. I see him also being a strong pass blocker, things like that. He doesn't have the speed that Elijah Mitchell has. He doesn't have the cutting ability I would say Jermichael Hasty has. But he's a big back. He's a big guy, 6'2", 215 pounds. He can pack a punch. So with Kerryon Johnson, I like that signing, man. Obviously, that's my boy. To tell you how much I like him, in my rookie draft that year, where I selected Kerryon Johnson. I selected Kerryon Johnson number 4 overall. I selected him in front of guys like Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. At the time, those were really high-end prospects. Luckily, I took Kerryon Johnson. I traded like 2 first-round picks. Like when I'm talking about like I was all in on Kerryon, I was all in. I traded multiple first-round picks to get up to 104 to select Kerryon Johnson to my dynasty team. And then at 108, I took Chubb. So it worked out. It balanced. Kerryon didn't work out too well, but Chubb hit. So it worked out. But that just goes to like the only reason why I'm saying that. Like, who cares about my fantasy teams, right? The only reason I'm saying that is because I've been tracking Kerryon Johnson his entire career since college, since he's on the Lions, and since recently that he was with the Philadelphia Eagles, where he was having a decent camp. before he got hurt. And then once he got hurt, they put him on injured reserve and then just waived him from the IR list. So there is hope for Kerryon, but he has a steep hill to climb. It's not going to be like a situation where I expect Kerryon to come in, take snaps week 2 against Philly. I would expect it's going to take him some time. Take him some time to get into that lineup. We're going to see what happens with Trey Sermon, Elijah Mitchell, JaMychal Hasty. I imagine all three will be active this week against Philadelphia. Kerryon Johnson will likely be inactive. I don't know if he's quite ready for that yet, but I like him. And again, to give you an idea of what he's done so far in the NFL, really not a lot. It's really not a lot. He had 118 carries for 641 yards and 3 touchdowns as a rookie, as a 21-year-old rookie for the Lions. Again, they were not a great team. The Lions, that is. Like I said, there's a new regime change. They were changing a ton of personnel. Wasn't a good team. And then in 2019, Kerryon Johnson rushed for 113. But this is where we saw the yards per average take a substantial dip. It went from 5.4 yards a carry to 3.6. So he definitely went down in regards to trending. But like I said, based on the things that I've followed around Kerryon Johnson, the team was a disaster. The team was just a disaster. They were running the scheme that required him to be successful. It just wasn't great. So he's only played 34 games in his career. He's only had a total of 283 rushes. So although he's been hurt, he quote unquote still has somewhat fresh legs, even though it's his legs that are kind of getting beat up. So it's a bit of a, contradictory statement. But the hope is that he'll be able to get through the injuries and actually be able to make an impact. And like I said, where I like him to make his impact, short yardage, goal line, pass blocking. Not necessarily looking for Kerryon Johnson to come out and lead this team with rushes. Nothing like that. So, but like I said, the thing to indicate, this dude had 18 rushing touchdowns in the SEC as a 20-year-old junior over 12 games. So there is something in there. There's something inside there that has untapped potential with Kerryon Johnson. I just hope that the 49ers, Bobby Turner, the 49ers running back coach, can start to pull and excrete that talent that has just kind of been calcified essentially within his body, because I know it's there. He's 24 years old. I like it. So as you guys can see, I like the signing. I like the signing a lot. I'll kind of show you a little bit about what I'm talking about in regards to his running style. And we can start to envision maybe how it would fit within our scheme and try and get an idea of how he fits. So let me get this thing pulled up here. And we'll just look at a couple plays. It's always nice, to look at the tape, right? You don't just got to hear from me the whole time. Let's watch some of the tape. So let's see what we got. Let me get it up here. All right. So like I said, I want to watch a couple plays. I really haven't watched this highlight, so I don't even know what we're in store for. What we're going to do, let's take it play by play. Let's break it down. And we're going to talk about what we see and see how we think that translates to our team and the scheme that we operate for the 49ers. So as you can see, you got Kerryon Johnson. You got 2 tight ends to the right side of the formation. Let's see what we got here. So it looks like a simple zone left, but you see the one-cut ability. And that's what I think Kerryon Johnson can really provide for the 49ers, is just try to look at the one cut. So as you can see right here, he had an unblocked guy right in the hole. But this is the one cut ability that I've been talking about that I really like out of Kerryon. It's enough. It's enough to find the hole, get loose, and break free. This video might be super choppy, so we'll see how long we'll do this. But like I said, he's not a burner, so he's not super fast. He's not like what we typically have. He's not like what we have with Kerryon. With like Raheem Mostert. As he puts on the burners right in front of me, I mean, you can see he doesn't have that long speed. He doesn't really have a really strong. Whoo! Kerryon, my boy. Lower that shoulder, fam. What happened? All right. We don't care about your intro, but I appreciate the highlight. But so that's kind of what we're seeing. Like, this is a perfect example of what Kerryon is. He has the ability to catch out of the backfield. You can see him running some of the stretch game. That was a pitch to the left. But honestly, where I really see him thriving is right here, in between the tackles, in the goal line. He has the ability to read and find his blockers and be able to make those, crucial yards. Here you get to see him in space. So I like this pick, man. I mean, I like the signing. I talked about Frank Gore a little bit on Twitter today. Frank Gore would have been a great practice squad addition just because of his veteran presence. But I don't think Frank Gore can necessarily provide the potential of production that Kerryon Johnson has. So I like it. Again, this is my boy. I'm a big fan of Kerryon Johnson. I have been for quite some time now. So I was pretty ecstatic when we heard the news that we were selecting him. And he did pretty well in spots throughout his career. I mean, obviously the blocking's there. That's real easy. Not super crazy. So I just wanted to give us a little hint, a little touch of Kerryon and what he's capable of and what he provides for this team. What's happening now? All right. Do I still got you? We don't want to look at that tweet anymore. We don't want to look at that anymore. Okay. So exactly to Red Eye's point, this dude's only 24. Plenty of time left on the clock for Kerryon. Still bounce back. I like it. I like the signing a lot. I think it's a good move. 49ers also reportedly, as we kind of shift away from Kerryon Johnson, unless you guys have any other comments, questions, concerns, I'll actually open that up for you guys really quick. If there's anything that you want to talk about in regards to the running back room, Raheem Mostert, Kerryon Johnson, get them in the chat now. Let's talk about it, and then we'll move on to our next topic. Oh, so you guys are crazy, man. You guys are crazy. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I see we got 100 people in here. You guys are always liking it up, subscribing, doing all that good stuff. So I appreciate you guys. Let's see. Sourdough Squad deep. Let's go. We see the Sourdough Squad out here. So what are his injuries? Typically, the injuries that Kerryon Johnson had suffered from were knee related. And I think consistently knee related. Let me get it pulled up here, though, so we can get it. Because I know he had injury. I'm pretty sure he had injuries in college as well. Yeah, so... Man, this is just so I'm going to read through the injuries, and these injuries are only from college. So when he was playing at Auburn in the SEC, he had a hamstring strain, shoulder strain, high ankle sprain, another shoulder, knee strain, And then in 2019, no, I lied. This is his entire injury history, not just college. In 2019, October 20th, 2019, he had his most significant injury. Week 7 against the Vikings, he tore his meniscus. So obviously, 2020 wasn't a great year for him. That he played all 16 games for the first time in his career in 2020. But they didn't do a ton, and he also essentially lost his job to Adrian Peterson, if you guys remember that. The I think Matt Patricia came in, they brought in Adrian Peterson, and they ran Adrian Peterson. They had no interest in developing Kerryon Johnson at all. It's kind of sad, actually, to be honest. So again, he comes with injuries, but he's free. So the risk, there's none. There's literally no risk of bringing in Kerryon Johnson. There's only potential for him to do better. But again, that's exactly why he's on the waiver wire right now. It's week 1. That's why he didn't last with the Eagles this offseason. He got picked up. He got claimed off of waivers by the Eagles. They put him on IR for same knee issue. So, and yes, Kerryon lost his job to Blunt the year before he lost it to AP. So, again, a big part of that, though, a big part of these moving pieces is coaching. And I don't think the Detroit Lions is a model organization, especially when it comes to developing talent, especially when you have coaching turnover and GM turnover about every 2 to 3 years. In some cases every year. That's not beneficial to a player's development and how they're going to move throughout the league. So, like I said, there was so much potential at one point. When he was a 21-year-old fresh into the league, Kerryon Johnson, we were like, I was hyped. I thought he was going to be a touchdown machine. Unfortunately, he went to a really poor organization. Again, you're seeing what they're doing with DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift just got benched. DeAndre Swift got benched for Jamal Williams. That's the difference of what happens when you have roster and coaching turnover and GM turnover. The staff last year drafted DeAndre Swift. The staff last year took DeAndre Swift early and had big plans for DeAndre Swift, except they got fired. And then the new staff that you bring in doesn't have the same plans that running back. Like Campbell probably would have liked Kerryon Johnson. The other guys didn't. So it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, none of anything that I'm saying indicates that Kerryon Johnson will actually have an impact on this team, because we don't know. And based on everything that I've seen from Kerryon Johnson within the last year, maybe he doesn't have an impact on this team at all. Maybe he's on the practice squad for about a week or two. They realize, all right, this dude's still injured. We need someone who can contribute. They let him go. So I don't want to sit here and say, start pumping up this crazy hype. I'm hyped personally. I explained why I'm hyped personally, but I also don't want to elevate him and put him on this level of hype. Like, we're going to expect him to do some crazy things, because we just don't know. We don't know how the knee's holding up. We don't know how his health is holding up. We'll find out here within about the next week or so. Once he gets into practice, once we get some reports out of camp, is he running with the in the team periods? Is he primarily a scout player? We'll find out. But like I said, I like it. I really do like it a lot. Let me see here. I'm gonna go through some of your guys' comments. Let me get caught up here. Let's see. Bear with me. I'm reading some comments. I'll pull some up here. Be enemy. It's not. Gosh, I didn't. Sounds like some of you guys want to talk about coach. Luke says Gallman over Johnson. I would agree with that. I would agree with that, even as a Kerryon Johnson fan. Um, the unfortunate thing is Wayne Gallman got claimed by Atlanta, so he's actually on a roster right now, which we knew was going to happen. We knew one of these running backs was going to get claimed. We knew they were going to end up on the final roster. We knew that was going to happen. Gallman is on. He's over there in Atlanta. But I guarantee you, there's going to be some running backs that come available, and I'm honestly not too worried about. Again, with Bobby Turner and Kyle Shanahan, with our blocking scheme and run blockers and everything, they can. It feels like they could turn me into a productive running back at this point. Like it really does. Like it feels like they could take my big ass and throw me behind that offensive line, hand me the ball, and I could average 3.2 yards a carry, which isn't great in the NFL, but it would be good for me. I'd be killing it at 3.2 yards a carry. Let's go, big boy. Sourdough Brad in there, running between the tackles, just laying dudes out. Let's go. Even though I would get my laid out, but still, I like to think I could lay someone out. But Luke is saying Gallman over Johnson for me. Good depth on the practice squad, though, which I agree with. It's good practice squad depth. He may be able to give you production here and there, but bad knee is a bad knee. Exactly. And that's kind of the point. I'm catching up, like I said. So exactly, Luke, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. More injuries to come by week. By week is week 6, then 12 straight games. Injuries, yeah, injuries. I mean, about it, we're starting the year averaging two season-ending injuries per game. Obviously, it's one game, and so it makes that sample size really easy to determine. But if the 49ers are losing 2 players a game to injury for 17 weeks, we're not going to have a team to roster. So obviously, we're not trending in the best direction. But hopefully, that we can just stay healthy, man. We can just stay healthy. Coach said, can't be more mad at the Mostert move. Contract year, had a chance to come back fully healthy. Best move for him and his family. What's the point having depth if we never use it? Move on and play ball. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Coach. I think he could have came back and he probably could have tried to and fought through it. But I think, as like we talked about at the top of the show, is we understand that Raheem Mostert is probably not coming back to the 49ers this next year, or we know he's not. Even if he were to stay healthy, I can't imagine the 49ers giving him a contract extension at this point. We know that the 49ers and his agent, they requested the trade. Was it 2019 year, 2020? I think it was 2020. They requested the trade, then they rescinded the trade just because they wanted to get him that guarantee, that turn his contract into a fully guaranteed contract opposed to partially guaranteed. That whole back and forth and the craziness that came from that. So I can't imagine that so this does feel like a Mostert move where, again, he's looking for his next contract. He's looking for his next place to play ball. He's not done yet. I think within his mind, he's still a young buck. Although he is headed toward, he's over 30, I believe, at this point. I think that was a move he made for himself. He got to get his knee right, gives him an opportunity to rehab and get ready to sign with another team, opposed to fighting his way back, getting hurt at the end of the year, and then not being able to sign with the team for next year. So it's a really tough decision. But if I had to put myself in Raheem Mostert's shoes with his family and his agent, it makes sense. It makes sense for him and what he needs to do to get right so that he can continue to further out his playing career. So it makes sense. It just, like I said, it sucks. It sucks so much because I love Mostert. I'm a big Mostert fan. So it's really hard to kind of wrap your head around knowing that he is. Hold on. We got to move here. Hold on one second. Let me confirm. So we have a roster move. Oh, we have a bunch of stuff. We have a bunch of stuff coming out right now. All right, hold on a second. Pause. Oh, we got whole kinds of alerts going on. All right, let me start at the top. Okay, let me see what we got here. So we had to release a player from the practice squad as a result of signing Kerryon Johnson. The player that was released was where did it go? I believe Isaiah Zuber, wide receiver. Um, I'm not even sure I've seen him participate with the 49ers, but that is the guy that had to get let go as a result of the Kerryon Johnson signing. Is there anything else? I think that might be it. Oh, the 49ers are working out. Where did it go? So the 49ers are working out some more players. Aha. Here it is. So the 49ers are working out or have worked out Devontae Bosby, Bausby, Curtis Bolton, Austin Kalito, Brian Hill, Dontrell Hilliard, Kerryon Johnson signed, Justin Mark Lillard, Artavis Pierce. Well, at least out of that group, I like Brian Hill. I like Brian Hill. If the 49ers are going to add someone else, wait, 49ers. So the 49ers promoted Dante Johnson from the practice squad and officially signed Dre Kirkpatrick to a 1-year deal. So Dante Johnson, of course, sticks around. The signing is apparently official regards to Dre Kirkpatrick. Sorry about this. There's all kinds of alerts coming through. So like I said, the 49ers are working at a bunch of different players. Really, the only player that jumps off the name from that list is Brian Hill. Brian Hill was a running back, undrafted free agent. I believe he started at Atlanta. He bounced, I think, to Cincy, went back to Atlanta. I think he might have went to the Rams. I don't know. Brian Hill's been all over the place, but he's someone, again, during the draft process that I thought was a sleeper. He was an undrafted free agent guy, but thought he was decent enough. So big time squirrel coming through. Those are some of the updates coming through right now. Oh, dang. Eagles cut Obi Melifonwu. Man, Obi. We had Obi Melifonwu on our team. I don't know if many of you guys remember that. We had him on our practice squad for almost the majority of the offseason. Obi Melifonwu is someone, like, I have insta busts where, like, the second they step into the league, I think they're a bust. Obi Melifonwu was an insta bust for me. His former second round pick by the Raiders, cut after his first year, went to the Patriots. They cut him. We took him. We cut him. And he just got cut from the Eagles. I just found that to be interesting. I'm very proud of my bus meter. Like, I'm very proud of how my ability to scout good players, but I'm also very proud of my ability to scout players that aren't good. Obi is one of them. So, we signed someone. Dang, there's all kinds of crap going on. What is happening? Jeez. What is... So we have signed Curtis Bolton. Hold on. I got to make a post. Post-making process. I see there's a ton of people on here. Coach, I'm going to actually get to your question in 1 second. We just signed a player. Hold the phone. We just signed Michael Bolton, not the one that you're thinking of. No, not the one that I'm thinking of. It's Curtis Bolton, not Michael Bolton. Curtis Bolton is what is he? He's a linebacker. Interesting. All right. So the 49ers added a linebacker to the practice squad in the name of Curtis Bolton. Interesting. All right. Is that even worth the post? Probably not. Actually, you're right. It's not worth the post. Let's keep it rolling. It's not worth the post. I'm not going to post that. At least to the main page. So let's get back to what Coach was saying. Coach was saying the hallmark of our team's depth is redundancy in all caps. We have many guys who support the same role on both sides of the ball. Mostert was a luxury, not a necessity. The train has left the station. Play ball. Coach is straight to it. This is what it is, and he's not wrong. He really isn't. That's exactly what we talked about when the 49ers drafted Elijah Mitchell. It's exactly what we said. That's exactly what we said. Like the 49ers took Elijah Mitchell and we were like, oh my goodness, they just took Raheem Mostert 2.0. The dude runs exactly like Raheem Mostert, plays exactly like Raheem Mostert. Obviously, they're different people, but their traits are insanely, eerily similar in regards to the one-cut ability, vision, and speed once they see the hole and hit it. And that is to the redundancy point. So we'll see. Jeff Wilson's kind of like Trey Sermon. It's a bit of redundancy there as well. So we'll see. Appreciate the super chat there, Coach. My guy, Don Burr's in here. Shout out Don Burr. Don Burr paid Coach. And then Coach is a legend. And Coach is a legend, so he split it with me. So shout out Don. Shout out Coach. I'd say Don. If I had to, I love a lot of my guys in here. I see a lot of the people in here over and over and over again. You know, like Raymond, Red Eye, a whole bunch of other guys that I'm just not seeing at the moment. But I know who you guys are. Don Burr and Coach, they might be some Hall of Famers, early chat Hall of Fame candidates. We'll see though. We still got some time. We still got some time, but Coach and Don, man, they've given us so much damn entertainment the last about 2-3 weeks. those guys are ballers. I love those guys. I love all you guys. Like, you guys make this hella fun. Really, the Sourdough Squad. I mean, right? Where's Josh at? Right? Tell him, Josh, the originator of the Sourdough Squad. Tell him. Sourdough Squad stays lit. This is the one I wanted. Let's go, Don. Let's go. We appreciate you. You're welcome here whenever you want, Don. You are welcome here whenever you like. Oh, my goodness. Shout out, Don, man. All right. You see the vibes, Joshua. You see the vibe. All right. Big old squirrel based on all those alerts that just hit. Again, nothing really crazy other than the fact that the 49ers signed Curtis Bolton to the practice squad after a tryout. Curtis Bolton is a linebacker, formerly played with Green Bay. 49ers officially placed Raheem Mostert and Jason Verrett on injured reserve. Also, obviously, officially signed Kerryon Johnson to the practice squad. Dante Johnson promoted from the practice squad. And Dre Kirkpatrick officially signed to a 1-year deal. So Dre Kirkpatrick, not a practice squad guy. Dre Kirkpatrick is on the roster along with Dante Johnson. So those are some small notes. Again, Isaiah Zuber, wide receiver, was released from the 49ers practice squad to make room. And let's see. And like I said, they had worked out a couple other people. And I think that covers our wave of alerts. All right, so let's reset. What do we want to talk about? I'll look to the chat because I got completely sidetracked by those alerts. So I'm going to look to the Sourdough Squad. What's the squad cooking right now? What do we want to talk about? What's the vibe? What do we want to talk about? What do we want to talk about as my drink explodes? Yes, Don paid his bets. Don's a gentleman. Don is a gentleman and a scholar. He paid his bets, and then Coach split the winning with me. Legends. Those guys are legends. So shout out Don. No Don slander is accepted in this chat. No Don slander. Yeah, let's talk Philly. You want to talk Philly? Should we do a little Philly preview? Mini Philly preview. We could do a mini Philly preview. Is that what we want to do? Let me see. Really quick before we go further with that, and we go completely off the rails. If you guys didn't hear, we inquired about Cameron Dantzler. He is the cornerback for the Vikings. He's a good cornerback as well. He's young. The Vikings drafted 2 cornerbacks. I think he is a second-year player in that draft. He was the later mid-round pick. Their first-round pick, Jeff Gladney, got into a whole bunch of legal trouble, and he got cut, essentially, and actually might be looking at jail time. So, unfortunately, for that situation, maybe Cameron Dantzler would be available if they didn't just have to cut their first round draft pick this offseason. So I would imagine that the Vikings don't have a ton of depth right now. So although Cameron Dantzler would be a fantastic addition, again, like a young player who's shown talent and shown he can start in this league, I just don't see the Vikings, even if we were to give up a 3rd round pick. I believe he was a 5th round pick. Don't quote me. But even if we were to give them more than what they took him for just 2 years ago, I don't know if they do that. Because, like I said, he's a good cornerback, and they just had to cut their former first-round cornerback due to legal concerns. So although it would be great for us, I don't know if it's necessarily great for the Vikings. So should we get into the whole Kyle conversation? I've seen people hitting at it before. I wouldn't mind taking a stab at it. Well, let's see. I'm going to send it. Just drop your questions, man. Drop your questions. I'll answer them, and we'll land on something. Will Trey Sermon take over the starting duties this week? I would not count on it. Again, that doesn't mean he won't, because what we talk about with Kyle Shanahan, we talk about the way he schemes. It's week to week, especially when it comes to the running back rotation. But obviously, as we know right now, Elijah Mitchell came out and did a bunch of damage. And obviously, Elijah Mitchell fits the Raheem Mostert role that Raheem Mostert had kind of in front of him, leading on to I didn't know that. Was he? He was a healthy scratch this week? Oh. I thought he had a good year last year. Interesting. I thought he had a good year last year. That's news to me. So, if that's the case, then maybe they would be open to trading him. I thought he had a really good rookie year, all things considered. But back to the running back conversation, I don't think Trey Sermon takes over. I think Elijah Mitchell did everything in his power to prove that if anyone's going to start right now, it's going to be him. Isn't it wild, though? Like, I want to ask you guys a question. Do you guys feel like worried at all that going into next week that our running backs are a 3rd-round rookie who was inactive last week, a 6th-round draft pick? Obviously, we don't care at this point because Mitchell balled out, and an undrafted free agent in Jermichael Hasty. Those are our running backs as of right now. Obviously, Kerryon Johnson's on the practice squad. I don't imagine he gets called up next week. So those are our three guys. Do we feel happy about that? Do we feel confident in that? I actually, if I had to answer my own question, there we go. There's an answer. Callie Bill says Sermon, Hasty, and Mitchell sounds good to me. James says not worried at all. What is there to be worried about? Oh, we gotta love it. We gotta know, sir. Shanahan knows how to get the best out of his runners. So that is part of it. Is like kind of why I'm phrasing that question. Is we have a 6th-round draft pick as our starting running back, who's a rookie, and we feel real confident about that. We have a 3rd-round draft pick who was inactive last week, but still we know there's talent there. He'll be active. And then we have Jermichael Hasty, a former undrafted free agent, who was rarely active last year. We all feel pretty confident. I feel confident. I would imagine, and again, based on some of the comments that I'm seeing, here's a perfect example of one. Those three are solid. Adding Kerryon Johnson is the icing on the cake. So I think we're okay, honestly. I think we're okay. I think that those three, I think Elijah Mitchell is one of my, again, I talk about the story all the time. And you're probably sick of hearing it at this point. After the I think it was first practice of the Senior Bowl, again, where Elijah Mitchell was balling out at Senior Bowl. Him and Chris Evans was drafted in the 6th round by the Cincinnati Bengals. They were working off to the side after practice. I got to basically have a private photo shoot with Elijah Mitchell and what's his name? Chris Evans. And so the point is like, I've known about Elijah Mitchell for all offseason. I got to see him up close and personal at the Senior Bowl. Again, one of the biggest things about the evaluation from that Senior Bowl for Chris Evans and Elijah Mitchell was the fact that both of them stayed after practice to work on drills and pass blocking drills for a solid 30 minutes after practice. Everyone else is doing media. Everyone else is gone. Let me see. I haven't really showed these too often. Might as well. Why not? Let me just go to share. And so, bring you up. Add to stream. That's not what I'm trying to do. Thank you. So as you can see here, that's Elijah Mitchell's helmet right here. So this is when I was at the Senior Bowl. I was on the field as a media credentialed member, and that's Chris Evans' helmet. But like I said, the Elijah Mitchell thing for me started here at the Senior Bowl. Not only was he, like I said, he performed in practice all week, but this moment right here, I don't know if you can see that glove in the background. I was like, oh, a broken glove. So this might be Elijah Mitchell's glove. I don't know exactly if that's his glove or not. But they just left it behind. Like I said, this is Elijah Mitchell's helmet. And then this is Elijah Mitchell and Chris Evans working together to after practice. And it was just, like I said, it was a cool experience because I got to see these two guys as guys, and I saw them working together. I saw that how they were communicating. I saw the work ethic of like what these guys were trying to do. They're working on pass blocking right now. And again, this is the Senior Bowl. It's an all-star game. Everyone is in the locker room at this point. There's no one on the field. I was just being me, staying on the field, and these guys walk over to me and they start working pass blocking drills at the Senior Bowl at an All-Star game when not one coach is on the field, not one scout is in the stands. Like, there's no one. It's just them working on their craft. So it's really cool, honestly, to go from this moment of watching Elijah Mitchell, seeing the talent, seeing the ability, seeing the work ethic that he puts in, got to see a little bit about who he is and what he's about, to now him being essentially the 49ers starting running back. So it's just wild. From Mobile. Oh, look at Mac. This is one of my, these pictures of Mac Jones are my favorite. I'm on a complete tangent right now. But these pictures of Mac Jones are my favorite pictures of all time. This is I'm literally standing here listening to Mac Jones talk, and I'm like, there's no way this dude is a top 5 quarterback. Like, and again, in regards to prospect wise, because look at him, man. Just look at him. I was like, dude, how can you put this guy next to Trey Lance and Justin Fields and all these other guys and be like, oh, this guy's the one. This is the one. Hey, he's not bad. And I never said he was bad, but good memories. All right. So that's our Senior Bowl memory lane. I just wanted to talk about Mitchell and his progression to where it's now led to him being the starter as the team. So it's been pretty cool. Yes, Mitchell is much faster. Mitchell is much faster than Sermon. They don't have the same running style at all. Completely different. That's why it was so interesting. Because when we looked back at the draft and they took Trey Sermon, we were like, oh, well, interesting. He has the same traits as Jeff Wilson. He's very similar traits to Jeff Wilson, running style, how they go about their business. And then when the 49ers took Elijah Mitchell in the 6th round, we're like, oh my goodness, that's Mostert 2.0. It's like the same movements, all that kind of stuff. It's crazy. Tell him, Dawson. You watch a lot of Cajun football. Nice. Elijah Mitchell was a stud out there. So not surprised by what he's doing. I've heard that rumor. I've heard some rumors about Brandon Aiyuk and why he didn't play. I don't know what the case is, man. You got Matt Mayoko saying one thing. You got Kyle Shanahan saying another thing. You got reporters interpreting what Kyle Shanahan is saying 3 different ways. You have rumors coming out. All I can say is when there's smoke, there's fire. There's something going on with Brandon Aiyuk. We did a whole long segment on that yesterday. We're not going to get into it today, but there's something going on there. And so we're going to monitor that. We're going to watch it closely. This isn't just a hamstring thing. Like, there's something going on. So we'll monitor the Aiyuk situation. We're not ready to hit the panic button quite yet. I mean, if you're a fantasy player, you're most likely going to bench Aiyuk this week. I would bench Aiyuk this week. And again, what's going to probably happen, Aiyuk's going to go off for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns because Kyle's going to troll us all. Like, that's just how it goes. So I'm probably going to sit down. Brandon Aiyuk in all my leagues, but knowing Kyle, he's probably going to bring him out. I don't know, dude. It's a weird situation. It's hard to project at this point. We understand Trent Sherfield is playing extremely well, and is deserving of all of that. But if we're going to look at pure talent, Brandon Aiyuk is far and away better than Mohamed Sanu. Like, I love Mohamed Sanu and what he's brought to our team from a veteran presence and what he can do as a big slot. But he's not better than Brandon Aiyuk at all from a traits perspective, skill set perspective, route running perspective, catching perspective, age perspective. Like, Mohamed Sanu should not have been on that field more than Brandon Aiyuk. So the fact that Brandon Aiyuk did play indicates there's no injury concern. Um, the fact that Matt Mayoko tweeted what he tweeted, you can't take that tweet back. That tweet's out there. So the combination of the two, it was the actions. It was only not only the actions of the coach, but it was the information that came out with it. So you can't. Hopefully back. Spinning wheel. Hopefully we'll see a bounce back uh, from that because we need it. This team needs it. The fan base needs it because I know you guys. If you listen to me, I said go buy all the Aiyuk stock. I said go buy all. Yeah, dollar Wi-Fi's back again. Let's go. I said go buy all the Aiyuk stock. So I wouldn't sell yet. Don't sell. Don't cut. Keep him. Maybe bench him this week if you have better options. If you don't necessarily have better options, I would still keep him in. But if you have better options that you know are going to produce at least like 3 to 4 catches, 60 yards, maybe a touchdown with that side, go with your other option just for this week. We need to build up a trend. We need to build up some continuity with how Aiyuk is going to be used in this scheme. So I think I'm hoping Aiyuk is here to stay. Just got to get him involved. The talent's there. So we'll see. Ooh, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. This is a fantasy question. Should I drop Trey Sermon to pick up Mitchell? Woo! That's hard. But maybe. I would try to stack both because again, what I thought the stack was going to be this year was going to be the stack of Mostert and Trey Sermon. I thought that was the stack to own. Clearly, Elijah Mitchell looks like the back to own, especially after the injury news. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I would feel unconfident dropping Trey Sermon and then Kyle doing his thing where because we don't know what Trey Sermon is yet. We don't know. Like we don't know what this offense looks like when Trey Sermon is available. Like, what if now with Trey Sermon in the lineup, Elijah Mitchell is doing a lot of the outside zone chunk yardage, but then they're rotating in Trey Sermon to take goal line. For example, JaMycal Hasty scored the goal line touchdown. I don't think Kyle Shanahan has plans to use Elijah Mitchell in the goal line. So Elijah Mitchell's going to be a little bit of a home run dependent fantasy player, in my opinion. Like he's going to have to score from like 15, 20 yards out because he's not going to get all the red zone opportunities, especially if you're calling up someone like Trey Sermon. I would say that JaMycal Hasty is a better red zone runner at this point in his career than Elijah Mitchell. So again, it's fluid. This running back room is going to be fluid all throughout the year. So if you're trying to look at it through a fantasy lens and through a fantasy perspective, you just have to be ready to deal with that. It is going to be fluid. It's going to be JaMycal Hasty one day. It's going to be Trey Sermon one day. It's going to be Elijah Mitchell one day, at least as of right now, until we start to see the trends kind of come together. So we'll see. What else we got? Please let's not have the Patriots running back situation in fantasy. Oh, we got that. Like that's where we're at. We are 100% Patriots territory. in regards to usage. 100%. Like I said, we can literally show up against Philadelphia and Trey Sermon's the lead rusher. We don't know. We got to see some trends. Because based on the trends of training camp and preseason, they wouldn't have indicated to how Kyle used Elijah. It didn't match. Just like Aiyuk hasn't matched. Aiyuk's trend throughout the offseason doesn't match week one. Trey Sermon doesn't match week one. Elijah Mitchell doesn't match, like their trends throughout the offseason doesn't match how they were used in week one. So that's why it's so hard to predict what Kyle is going to do. That's why it's very hard to predict. Because he's very situational based. Even in the game time situations, he can literally have a game plan of, it's going to be Elijah Mitchell, but we're going to go ahead and switch it over to Trey Sermon. So we'll see. We'll see. And of course, as you guys know, if you guys are new to the channel and you're watching for one of the first couple times, I'm big into fantasy football, dynasty football specifically, but also redraft. So if you guys do ever have fantasy questions, feel free to hit me up. I'm pretty up to speed on most of the league and matchups and stuff like that. We can make it work. So I'm here for you for fantasy support as well as 49ers support. Oh yeah, you tell them. You tell them, hit that like, smash it. If you guys have been in here for over an hour, that would be great. Could you imagine if all 143 people watching right now just liked this video? Oh man, I'll never get over I'm still having a hard time getting over asking people to like my stuff and subscribe my stuff, man. I'm still getting used to this YouTube thing. We're on the right path though. We're on the right path, and you guys have been great. I agree with Luke. I don't think we need Gurley at this point. I just unfortunately feel like Gurley is a complete shell of himself, although the name value is fantastic. I like Kerryon a little bit better because there's more upside. He's younger. Although he has a similar wear and tear, he's younger. So we'll see. Do I think Miles Sanders is going to have a big fantasy week? Absolutely. If the 49ers don't figure out how to adjust their defensive front to stop getting gashed up the middle. I actually heard Kyle talk about that. I hadn't really seen any quotes or anything come out of that game, but Kyle talked about how they got gashed up the middle. And what did he talk about? All the things that I said in regards to alignment up front, is essentially saying we played out of alignment a bunch of times. And he also referenced 3 specific plays where a lot of the chunk yardage came from. And he essentially said those 3 plays, our defensive front was playing out of alignment. So again, that was one of the big things that I pointed to yesterday during the game, was the reason why we were getting gashed up the middle is because of our defensive front and how we were bringing them out. It necessarily didn't have to do as much with the personnel. It was how we were stacking the box and essentially giving them a pass to run up the middle, which is exactly what they wanted to do. And they did it, and we didn't stop it. Like it was weird how we didn't make the adjustments sooner when it was pretty obvious about why we were getting gashed up the middle. So hopefully, with Kyle Shanahan acknowledging that this week, they're making changes. Hopefully, on top of that, Javon Kinlaw, there is still optimism that Javon Kinlaw will be back to play against the Philadelphia Eagles. There is still optimism. And if that occurs, that is good for us because Javon Kinlaw is a run stuffer and we need him up there in the middle to clog those gaps. If anything, we just need Javon Kinlaw to be able to obtain 2 people. I think a lot of people have a misconception about what is supposed to happen within those interior defensive tackle positions. But if my interior defensive tackle is acquiring 2 offensive linemen, that's a W. Like if I'm a defensive coordinator and my defensive tackle doesn't get pushed off the line of scrimmage, holds his ground, and has to obtain 2 blockers, and he could just hold his ground and hold his gap responsibility while taking 2 blockers, that's a W for me, because that means that my linebackers are free to go wherever they want. My linebackers are free to go wherever they want. And that's what I want. So, although it would be great for Javon Kinlaw to come out, put up a bunch of sacks, a bunch of pressures, all this and that, I just need Javon Kinlaw to be a space eater. I need him to take up multiple guys on that offensive line to allow everyone else to work off of him. And then we'll see, hopefully, this defense kind of take a step forward in the right direction. But I think we're pretty happy regarding the linebackers and everyone else. So to circle that back to the Miles Sanders question, I think Miles Sanders is a pretty solid back. I think with how Philly played last week, the offensive line. So this is going to be a massive matchup. The Philadelphia Eagles offensive line, I think I undersold them a little bit. I didn't realize how good their left tackle was. Until he got paid. And then once he got paid, I did a little research into who he was, and like, because I had never heard of him, and I remembered once I started to do my research, he was a rugby player drafted late in 2018. He was a developmental guy and brought on. So he's just not a big name guy. Now he's a big name guy. I looked into him. He's got great ability. He's 6'8". He's a monster, but he has an amazing ability to bend. Again, to some of the things that we talk about with like Mike McGlinchey, where that he's working on, like Maliada's ability to get depth in his pass set and work his hips and work his leverage. He's really good. So he's going to be better than Penei Sewell. So I would say, Sewell did a pretty solid job against Nick Bosa. So we'll see. How does Nick Bosa do against Maliada? Because he's pretty good. I think he's better than Sewell. He's much more of a fluid pass protector than Sewell was. So it's a bit of an upgrade that Nick Bosa is going to from week 1 to week 2. Same thing on the opposite side of Nick Bosa. They have Lane Johnson as their right tackle, one of the best right tackles in the NFL. So that's going to be a test for D Ford, Samson Ebukam, Arden Key, the rest of the edge players playing against Philadelphia. On the interior, you have Kelsey, who's, Travis Kelsey's older brother. He's been one of the top centers in this league and still playing at a high level. The guards are good as well. So this offensive line is a lot better actually than I anticipated. And then I gave them credit for when we did our record prediction show. So that is going to be a matchup. And so that would have me lend to believe that you probably still want to start Miles Sanders. They're going to try and run the football. If they're not, they'll still find Miles Sanders in the flat. He is a good receiver out of the backfield. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Let's go. Sourdough Brad with over 1,700 rushing yards, 19 TDs. I feel it in my bones. Robbie Anderson or AB. I mean, Antonio Brown felt like the number 1 wide receiver for Tom Brady, did it not? Like, it kind of felt like he was the number 1 option. It felt like he was creating separation more so than Mike Evans was. Mike Evans barely got involved in that game. I might go AB. Like, if I had to take I know Robbie Anderson had a really good performance too. But I think I trust Tom Brady much more than Sam Darnold at this point. I don't know what the matchups are. I'd have to look at the matchups. That could swing it a certain way. But we'll see. Oh, yeah. Demo jersey in the background. Oregon beating Ohio. Pac-12. We needed that. We needed that from the Pac-12. We needed that. Let's see. Kerryon needs cash too. He's a young Donner. I think he's okay. I think he's okay in the money situation. I don't think we got to worry about that too much. Don't think we got to worry about that too much. Um, so let's see what else we got. How was Ryan's game calling? I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. Um, I thought I feel like when a majority of the fan base is questioning why you're doing something on defense, I feel like that's a pretty solid indication that, like, okay, maybe, he's having a little bit of some of those rookie hurdles. Again, my biggest thing with D'Amico against the Lions was adjustments. I wasn't seeing the adjustments. Again, we can come out running our wide nine, have our defensive ends just completely spread out, and have our, 3 tech and our 1 tech, but DNs are like nowhere to be seen. It just opens up a lot of running lanes. And so when they were taking advantage of those running lanes, the one pet peeve that I had was that I didn't see D'Amico Ryans making the adjustments, because that's what football is. Every coach, every team goes into a game with a plan, but that plan gets thrown out the window the second you get punched in the face. So that was the thing, is it felt like we were getting punched in the face a little bit, but we weren't changing, if that makes sense. Like, it felt like we were still doing the same thing. Um, at least in regards to defensive line, like front, and how we were like putting them out there. Um, that was my biggest thing, is I didn't like the adjustments, in-game adjustments. So even after halftime, I was like, okay, halftime, they're gonna go look at it. They're gonna get together as a group and talk about the adjustments that they need to make to stop the run up the middle. Again, I talked about it in game too. I was like, why are we giving them the middle? We should be clogging the middle, forcing them to bounce outside the tackles to go head on head with our speed. Just like Luke Luna says, like, Greenlaw, fire. Greenlaw was all over the place. Greenlaw was everywhere. He had that pick six, but they're so fast. Fred Warner, Azeez Al-Shaair, we saw Azeez Al-Shaair. Like, force these teams to beat you to the edge. Like, clog up the middle. Don't let any team run on the middle on us. Force them to go to the edge, because guess what? We have the most athletically gifted linebackers in the NFL. So force them to go sideline to sideline. I talk about it all the time. Our linebacker core is probably the fastest east-west movers in the NFL, meaning sideline to sideline. They move side to side better than probably any linebackers in the NFL. So if that is our strength, then why aren't we forcing people to go to the outside, clog up the middle, stop those running lanes, don't allow them to do exactly what they want to do, and then be able to adjust off that. So that was my biggest thing with D'Amico Ryans. I just want to see adjustments. But I like this. Greenlaw and Kinlaw, the Outlaws. Ooh, I might have to use that, Luke. I might have to borrow that from. That's a good one. I like that, actually. I like that a lot. Cap said Jason Aponte, my boy, had a great point. Why didn't Ryan stick Warner on Hawkinson? Great point. Absolutely great point. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look to see exactly how they were playing that defense. But yeah, I knew going into this that Hawkinson was going to be the number one target for that. So I wouldn't mind putting our best off-ball line in the entire NFL. Best LB group in the NFL. I think so, man. If these guys can stay healthy, again, the emergence of Al-Shire. Oh, there we go. There we go. Sorry, dollar store general Wi-Fi acting up again. But like I said, man, dude, we were doing okay, right? We were doing good with the Wi-Fi. Yeah, I could see a bunch of people hopped off. Yeah, good old Wi-Fi. Good old Wi-Fi. But yes, I agree. I think that this linebacker group could be the best group in all of football with the speed that they have. Of course, Fred leading the charge. All of that. All of that. I should go be a consultant to Ryan. I'll be it. I'll be a consultant to the whole staff. I'll just tell them what I see, and they could tell me I'm an idiot, or they could be like, it's actually a good idea. Maybe we should do that. I appreciate that though. Steve-O says, I have tons of wins in fantasy, but had to stop playing because it made me watch the game different. I'm a football purist, man. I'm a football purist. So although I am clearly a 49ers fan, I'm a football purist. Like, I'm a fan of the game before I am a fan of the 49ers. Like, if that makes sense. I love football. I love the sport of football. I love the culture of football. I love the grind of football. I love everything about football. Now, because I love everything about football, I naturally have to pick a team. My team is the 49ers, but that doesn't change the fact that I watch everything and I scout. I scout for fun. I'm not a scout. I'm not a draft scout. I think I could be. But I scout for fun. I scout because I love the game. I did change my Wi-Fi, dude. I think I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, man. I changed my Wi-Fi. I don't know what it is at this point. So anyways, all I was saying was shout out everyone grinding out the dollar store Wi-Fi. When we actually get a breakthrough and this Wi-Fi works all the way through for our show, it's going to be fantastic. And I'm going to celebrate every single one of you who suffered through the dollar store Wi-Fi general days. So, but the rant I was saying is basically I'm a football fan. I play fantasy football, and it has no fandom for the 49ers. It really doesn't. I'm in, I think, over 10 leagues, 10 or 11 or 10 or 11 leagues. And a lot of them dynasty. So I'm doing a lot of rookie scouting. I just love football, man. I love it. I love playing it. I love watching it. I love scouting it. I love it all. So it allows me to do it all. This did bother me kind of in the beginning of my fantasy days, but I learned how to compartmentalize. And also too, like I said, the fact that I scout these kids in college, I become fans of these guys before they have an NFL team. So I root for the player. Like CeeDee Lamb, still one of my favorite players. Plays for the Cowboys. I don't like the Cowboys, but I like Dak Prescott. I scouted Dak Prescott. I scouted CeeDee Lamb. I like those guys. I like them a lot. They're some of my favorite players in the league. Still a 49er fan. But when I became a fan of them, they weren't on the Cowboys. So it doesn't make me a Cowboy fan. I just watch it all. I watch it all. How about that game last night, though? That game last night was wild. The Monday Night Football Raiders versus why am I blanking on who they played? Sheesh. Raiders versus someone's gonna come up with it before I do. Someone help me. I'm having a stroke. It was Raiders versus the Ravens. There it is. Oh, we tied. Nice work. So Raiders versus the Ravens. Latavius Murray would have been a good ad for us, I feel like. If this happened like a week sooner. If this happened like a week sooner, I think Latavius Murray would have been a good person to consider for the 49ers in regards to running back help, veteran as well. I thought Latavius Murray looked pretty good last night. I thought the Raiders just looked like the Raiders. I'm surprised they won that game. It looked like they were doing everything they could to lose that game. So congrats to them for pulling it out. Zay Jones is one of my sons. Like, I scouted Zay Jones tough out of was it North Carolina? No, it wasn't East Carolina. He played for the East Carolina Pirates. I was a huge fan of Zay Jones coming out, man. Huge fan of Zay Jones. So he's had a really turbulent career. So it was really cool to see him pop off in a moment like that. I thought he was going to be legit with the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills traded his ass to the Raiders, and I was like, oh my gosh, Zay Jones got traded to the Raiders so his career could go and die, which it essentially has. He has not done anything since he got traded to the Raiders. Got hurt. A lot of people are getting hurt, man. A lot of people getting hurt. They lost 2 of their offensive linemen, I think. So we know what it is. It's a war of attrition, and so we're gonna see how it translates into the year. Do I think Sermon can play a power back role? 100%, and that's probably the role he's gonna play. Like I talked about, JaMycal Hasty was the goal line back for the 49ers against the Lions. I would imagine that is Sermon's role. But like, it's we can only imagine at this point. We project, we don't know. So I would think that Trey Sermon gets more opportunity. I would think Trey Sermon actually gets some run, especially short yardage and goal line situations, because like I said, JaMycal Hasty was used in those situations last week, and he did really well and has done really well for the majority of his time here. So I would imagine he'll be the power back. He, like I said, like based on just how crazy Kyle is, we could walk out of that game against Philly, and Trey Sermon could be the dude with 100 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, that can happen. That is a possible range of outcome. That's why I'm like, don't cut Trey Sermon yet, because we just don't know yet. We just don't know. We got to be patient with that. Michael says Trey Sermon and Aaron Banks are expected to give the offense inside power running game. Without Banks, Sermon has no clear role. I mean, I still think Sermon, we'll see. I don't have enough sample size on Sermon to be able to determine that he can't run the zone game. And I think there might be some people that don't know the difference between a zone running game and a power running game. Power running game, you're running to a spot. Like, you have a detailed track of exactly where you're going as a running back, and all the timing and everything of the offensive lineman is supposed to work directly pinpointed at that area that you're running towards. Whereas zone is free flowing. Zone, you could literally go wherever the hell you want to go, wherever the hole dictates. Like, it could be zone outside to the right, and you're trying to run off the right side of the tackle's hip, but you see a cutback lane to your left, you instantly take it. You're gone to the left. You're not necessarily doing that in power schemes. like, so you look at other running backs who have famously not been able to run the zone scheme. You remember Trent Richardson out of Alabama when he was with the Raiders. You remember that meme where the hole's like this wide and right in front of Trent Richardson, and he's running like away from the hole because he's running to a spot. He's not reading a zone. I went to a game I had a final in one of my sports broadcasting classes, and we went to the Raider game, and our final was to basically do play-by-play of Raiders versus Broncos. That was when the Broncos had Peyton Manning. So that was a really fun experience. But the point of what I was trying to say is the Raiders had Darren McFadden. Darren McFadden was a good power back, but they had tried to run zone. And I was watching, essentially, I could had a perfect shot of the running lanes. And I was watching Darren McFadden just not be able to do it. Like, just not be able to find the running lanes, not be able to make that one cut and go. So not everyone is built the same. There are running backs that are built to run to a spot, and then there are other running backs like Elijah Mitchell who are built to read and find holes and create. So I don't know if Sermon is essentially boxed into that power runner just yet. I want to see what he can do in the run game first before we slam the door on that. So we'll see. I would imagine that he has to be able to run it, or else that would be a big whiff by the scouting department to trade up for a running back that can't run a zone scheme. So we'll see. Yeah, we haven't been great in the third rounds. We haven't been great in the second rounds. Sean, what's up, my Uso? Yeah, we just haven't been great in the that middle portion of the draft. So we'll see. Yep, hats off to Heem. Shout out Heem. We appreciate Heem, everything he's done. So yeah, we'll see. But basically, I think we'll call it for today. About an hour 30 in. You probably guys are sick of hearing me speak at this point. So I will start shifting our gears towards Philadelphia tomorrow. I think that we will definitely, like I said, I've already kind of touched on the offensive line a little bit for the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll touch more on Jalen Hurts. We'll touch more on Javonte Smith, Dallas Goedert. We'll touch more on the weapons that Philadelphia has. We'll look into the defense to see how that matches up with our offensive line, which could be this is going to be a trench battle. I'll say that right now. It's going to be a battle up front with the trenches. So that's one thing that I'm really excited to get into tomorrow. In regards to really focusing on the matchup itself. Again, seeing what we saw in week 1, tweaking it to make it work for week 2. And so that's what's on the docket for tomorrow around the same time. We're hovering around 1:30 to 2:30 start times. So of course, if you have the opportunity, you can put on the notification. It will alert you when I do go live and all of those things. Again, if you are loving this content, which I know you are, right? If you can like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. If you're new, thanks for hopping in. And of course, I see all the people. The Sourdough Squad's tough. The Sourdough Squad is growing by the day here on YouTube. So I'm really excited to see what our Sourdough Squad looks like by the end of the year, week 17 as we head into the playoffs to go win that 6th ring. Shout shout out the Sourdough Squad. We see the gang in here. So I think we're just going to keep growing. So it's going to be exciting to see what it looks like here down in the future. We want that NFC Championship again at home at Levi's, but we need that 6th ring, man. We need that ring. So it'll be interesting to see. Again, tons of moves went down today. Today is the perfect day for roster moves to happen. I think this is a really good cadence to pay attention to for the rest of the season. Tuesdays are going to be very heavy in regards to players being moved up from practice squad down to practice squad, cut, release, signed. So Tuesday is going to be a big transaction day throughout the year. And then it's going to be a great transition for waivers for us once we get a little bit more heavy into fantasy football and all that good stuff as we head into the season. But excited to break down the matchup tomorrow. Oh man, if I was in Philly, we would absolutely be doing the SF Diners segment for sure. So I appreciate everyone, as always, stopping by. Let's do this again tomorrow. I will see you guys soon.